Pagdating sa Pilipinas, we are in the midst of a historic moment. In many ways, we're facing many crises. And urgency and disruption are the two key words that define our politics nowadays. Alam natin ano itong mga crisis na ito. Political crisis, a lot of economic challenges that we're facing. At ito na, parating ng elections. So we need to figure out what on earth is happening in the Philippines. We have to make sense out of the kind of disruptions we're facing. At dapat natin maintindihan ano yung ginagawa ng gobyerno. What are different departments of the government doing in order to help the Filipino nation, to uplift our welfare and to put us on the right track? Because no matter who you voted for or you're gonna vote for in the upcoming elections, lahat tayo, we want a better Philippines. We want a progressive Philippines. We want the Philippines to be quote-unquote first world. And without a question, we have the potential for that. Kaya natin ito. But first of all, we have to understand how do we get from point A to point B. At ano yung mga ginagawa natin at mga kailangan natin gawin to get to where we should get in the 21st century. In my opinion, the Philippines can become great again if we figure out what is best for our nation and we figure out who are the best people to lead our nation. Kaya dito sa show na to, sa Pilipinas 360, we're gonna discuss all dimensions of governance and everything that is relevant to make the Philippines a more prosperous, stable, and secure nation, and how to make sure that we continue to make the most out of the great potential of the Filipino people. So welcome to Pilipinas 360 Degrees with me, Richard Hidaria. Elements to it, and I think we discussed that dun sa isang episode with mahirap talaga, wala kang production team na you're trying to do everything on your own. Pwede mo naka-on ba? Ayan na. Okay, I think it's on. Let's just so. Okay, anyway. So, as I said, there are three elements that I found missing. I was hoping it was there, but it was not there. Hindi na mention yung ICC, potentially rejoining ICC. Hindi na mention ang impeachment issue and the Supreme Court ruling, and there was no follow-through dun sa sinabi ng Malacanang earlier that they had their disagreements with the ruling and perhaps indirectly endorsing a motion for reconsideration that is now in the works, in the pipelines. And pangatlo, even on the West Philippines issue, the president didn't really press the issue and criticize any country in particular. In fact, the president reiterated the mantra of the Duterte administration, which is friends to all, enemy to none, which I always found more appropriate for Department of Tourism than a foreign policy, because how can you be friends to people who are not really friendly to you or inagawan yung karagatan mo, yung resources mo, inaapi yung mga mahingista mo, pinuputol yung daliri ng mga sundalo mo. Anyway, having said that, there's a reason. So, what I was saying is, usually BBM is compared to Pinoy in a way to say two things. Na malayo siya kay Digong, or from the DDS point of view, parang traidor siya sa mga Duterte or uniteam na yan, right? What I found interesting about what you could say the strengths of the State of the Nation address is that it's kaya kanina, dun sa mga katabi ko, joke ako ng joke, majority. So basically I was saying, it was more like yung speech ni BBM, and what you could find strong with it is almost an echo of the argument that Bam and Kiko supporters would make in support of them joining the majority. Let me explain. Kung titignan mo yung speech, I didn't do like Hey Grok or ChatGPT, how many percent? No, but my sense is easily 40% of the entire speech had to do with issues that are close to the heart of Kiko and Bam, right? Education and food security. And in fact, over and over, I don't know how many times I saw applause from people, and it seemed quite genuine, no? May mga ilang DDS yan na hindi pumalakpak, but kahit yung iba na medyo hindi naman pro-admin, nakita ko pumapalakpak. If you look at it, almost 40-45% of the entire speech was about education, healthcare.
food security, food security, food security. Kaya nga, tinitingnan ko yung reaction ni Bam Aquino, tinitingnan ko yung reaction ni Kiko. Bam seemed to be, was happy when education was being mentioned. Obviously, Secretary Angara was happy. I'll go to that a bit shortly. You could see Kiko was also animated. So basically, parang yung playbook, okay, let's not call it playbook. The argument that Kiko and Bam would use na, well, kailangan ng majority because we have to be practical, and ito yung kailangan ng ating kababayan, yun din ang basically ginawa ni BBM. Halos kalahati ng kanyang speech was all about education, healthcare, and food security. So basically, let's put aside anything that is contentious, let's put aside anything that is polarizing, even if siguro kailangan labanan yung mga issue na yan kasi may garapalan na nangyari dito, violation of Constitution, human rights. No, but let's just be practical, focus on things that malapit sa puso ng taong bayan, right? And it really worked. I could see it. It really resonated. And I think a lot of us, for a moment, marami sa atin hindi bumoto kay BBM. Marami sa atin critical pa rin kay BBM. Marami sa atin isip natin kulang pa rin. But, in fairness, if you take it on its own terms, I think it was quite effective. So in that sense, I was saying like, sounds like Kiko and Bam, right? Like, let's just be practical. Huwag natin masyadong pag-usapan yung mga controversial na issues as much as possible. I mean, obviously, it's easy to talk about the trial and all now kasi tapos na election. And by the way, parang mukhang hindi naman tutuloy for now. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. I'm not gonna litigate the case again. What I'm saying here is, it sounded very the logic of Bam and Kiko, right? So for a long time, parang the idea is that, parang BBM is Aquino 2.0, but I said, parang Kiko Bam 2.0 ang nangyari dyan. But, it worked. That's the thing, it worked. It worked. Not only did I see Bam and Kiko, I couldn't see Bongo, by the way, and there was a lot of discussion on healthcare, PhilHealth, ganon. So, I could see a lot of that. And my term for that, and it's a term I got actually from Professor Mitzner, who used it in the context of Indonesia. I used it earlier in the context of 2019. I call it polite populism, right? Polite kasi hindi siya bastos like Digong, basically, walang kabastusan and everything. But it was quite populist in the sense that, eto yung problema, sagot namin yan. Eto yung gastos, sagot namin yan. Well, obviously, happy tayo, di ba? I mean, some of us recently, or some, unfortunately, some other people, imagine how much money people are shelling out, hundreds of thousands, millions for healthcare needs and all of that. So, I think it is very good to hear that PhilHealth will cover X, Y, and Z conditions. It is very reassuring to hear na may budget. Ngayon, kasi laki ng budget na darating na fiscal year, merong budget for education, etc. It's indeed very reassuring that there's a budget for even yung yung nutritional needs ng mga kabataan. Alam natin, mahalaga yan because when kids do not get enough nutritional input at a very young age, formative years, it has long-term impact on their IQ, on their cognitive capabilities and all. This is a proven science, right? There's a whole school of economics on that, right? About the idea na bata pa lang, you know, if you invest in the right food and nutrition, and you have the full brain development and all of that, you're gonna have a long-term investment in your human capital. At yun din ang finocus at in-emphasize ni President. So for me, that sounded very Bam and Kiko, which is like, let's just focus on non-polarizing issue. Let's be very focused on things na malapit sa puso ng tao. And it worked. It worked. It worked in the same way that actually Bam and Kiko's, let's not deny the facts, it worked amazingly during the 2025 elections. And guess what? Who else said that? Lenny. Lenny also said that. This idea na wag tayo masyadong practical tayo. Let's look at coalition po. Let's look at yung mga gut issues at mga pangailangan ng tao. Alright? So, in that sense, I found that very ironic or interesting, I would say. Both ironic and interesting. So kaya parang sabi ko, if I'm Bam and Kiko, I'm liking this speech. Like this is good. Like so much of the speech was about very, very practical issues. Yung laptops sa kabataan, nutritional needs ng kabataan, yung mga classrooms, bayad sa guro, PhilHealth, mga gamot. So basically, parang wala rin si Bongo, no? Like, basically yung malasakit, yun ang version ng government, lahat. Covered lahat yun, all the welfare issues. So basically, you saw the president replicating this kind of Bam, Kiko, Bongo argument, focusing on welfare issue, if not even stealing the thunder. And it worked. I cannot deny that. At least in the crowd I saw, it really worked and resonated. As a standing ovation pa ibang tao, right? Because to be honest, the beginning of the speech was a bit boring. To be honest, like the beginning is like, how am I gonna make stay awake. And then, nag-build off siya. And that's the other thing I appreciate about Tita. I mean, if it was like, if it were music, parang the build-up was very steady. And then this is where we go to the second part that I found the speech also quite effective, which is punchline, right? So, for instance, he mentioned yung mga iba't ibang yung mga athletes natin, mga kampiyon natin. Sabi niya, Senator Manny, si Hayden Diaz, si Alex, and then sabi ko, I know where this is going. And then of course, yung bago natin kampiyon, si General Torre, who clearly, General Torre was the star of the night. And from the moment I saw him walking into the parang luncheon event kanina, and it was very interesting. So everyone was seeing all over him, picture. And it was when he was going outline, I just went shortly behind and nag-hi lang ako, and then tuwa siya and all, and then I just take a picture. And then when I went there, talking to another good, I was talking to Commodore Tariela, bigla nakita ko, dumating si General Tariela, and then nag-usap kayo ulit. And sabi ko, tara, let's do it like that. So game na game si General Torres. I really appreciate. And you know, this morning I was thinking, like, if General Torre ever becomes the president, he'll be the second president from Mindanao, right? He's born from Basilan, brilliant guy, great guy, really interesting guy, funny guy, very charismatic, and nakikita mo talaga, he was really the star of the night. Like whenever the president would mention anything that had to do with rule of law, when he mentioned about mga athletes and champions, palakpakan ng lahat ng tao, di ba? So, and he clearly was the star of the night, the man of the hour, and you could see how effective yung pag-checkmate niya sa mga Dutertes. And my joke was 3-0 na, di ba? Kibol lang, hindi ko. And then, like, and then who knows, Bato may be next. Anyway, now, speaking of General Torre, it's also interesting that the president also went on the offensive, but in a very subtle way. And this is the third part that I feel was very effective about the speech, which is, hindi niya mention si Sara at all. Sara was not there last time I checked. Nasa Korea ba siya? Ano ba siya? Digital nomad? Sila Robin Hood, Batorni, anyway. I think the fact that they were not there actually was helpful para mas relax, mas at home si BBM. Parang feeling niya, kasi if you look at BBM when he's abroad, ang ganda ng mga speeches niya. At least kumpara kay Digong, right? Because feeling niya, at least there's a minimum level of respect, whatever, so comfortable siya. I don't think he performs very well when he's surrounded by people who are overly critical of him or hater of whatever. But andun ba si Amy? Anyway, never. So, going back to the third part that I felt was quite strong dun sa speech niya is yung subtle pushback niya. So, for instance, he mentioned, wala pang kalahati ng panahon ng basically 6 years ng dating administrasyon, mas marami silang nahuling droga. At this is where I felt he could have pressed the point further at halos walang namatay sa extrajudicial killings. He didn't even mention the word EJK now. But I think if you were a little bit more, I would say, edgy and risk-taking, would have said, and hindi, nahuhuli yung droga, pero walang kunyaring ng laban, walang EJK. But I know he also didn't do that because he knew that the moment you open up the whole discussion and you'll go down the rabbit hole of it. So, but anyway, but I think that was very subtle, but that was quite effective. That was quite effective. Basically, the idea is that, ano pinagsasabi nila na ganyan. Yeah, may problema tayo sa droga, pero actually mas marami kami nahuli sa 3 years pa lang kumpara sa kanila ng buong 6 years. At hindi kami budol, at more importantly, walang EJK nangyari. But I would say, and this is related to the first part of what I found strong about the speech, was this. 40 to 45% of the speech was all about education or some way related to education, including issues about nutrition of kids, TESDA, vocational education, infrastructure that he was still relating in some way to education and all. Bakit ka mo? That was a dig basically at Sara, right? Na ngayon, na finally may matino tayong Department of Education Secretary, or at least comparatively, I mean, Sani Angara is not a PhD in education, pero medyo LSE, Harvard, UP Law lang naman siya, di ba? So, but more important, if you look at yung mga USEC undersecretaries ni Angara, these are pretty like high-level academic and experts in the education field, di ba? And then kumpara mo dun sa whatever the non-existent achievement ni Sara as an expert on education, but even yung mga USEC niya, parang ilan dyan yung mga, you get what I'm saying? So he was actually in many ways attacking the terrible track record of Sara Duterte as the Department of Education Secretary by mentioning what is being achieved and what can further be achieved now na iba na yung DepEd Secretary. And I felt that was very smooth operator, right? Like, and very BBM. Okay? Very BBM, right? It was very, very BBM. In a sense that it was not passive aggressive. It was like parang killing me softly. Parang ganon yung ginawa niya. So then again, just to be clear, I was disappointed hindi na mention ICC. I was disappointed na hindi mention yung impeachment issue and etc. I think he felt that once he goes down that road, he'll just give more ammunition for fights and polarization. I think the whole goal of the president was, and this goes also to my third frustration or the omission rather, is hindi na mention yung West Philippine Sea because as the president correctly also reminded everyone, we're gonna be the ASEAN chair next year. So as the ASEAN chair next year, we're expected to be essentially the driving factor behind not only ASEAN but regional integration. So the Philippines has to be a little bit more calibrated in terms of its language vis-a-vis dun sa mga hidwaan natin with China. That doesn't mean we give up dun sa mga concern natin sa China. It's more like you have to couch it in more diplomatic language. So I think with the president not directly mentioning West Philippine Sea, he was trying to emphasize the Philippines' upcoming chairmanship and in a way global leadership next year as the rotational chairman of the ASEAN. And base sa pagkaalam natin, maybe Trump could come to the Philippines next year. And by the way, hindi rin mentioning Trump, the 1 percentage point and all, and I think he didn't want to go down that road. Because again, so very strategic and very tactical. Parang, if there's something that I have to explain and then there'll be a counter, parang, okay, let's park that for a while, focus lang tayo sa issue, and then we indirectly make a dig, right? So I just felt if you really look at it from that perspective, it was quite an effective speech. And overall, it's quite interesting kasi yung mga DDS halos wala doon. I think wala si Robin, wala si Sarah, wala si... So, and then may patama pa siya doon sa mga alam niyo na sino, di ba? Hindi lang si Sara Duterte. It was interesting because the sense you get is ganun palang Pilipinas, no? Medyo mapayapal pala tayo kung walang mga nanggugulo, di ba? Nanggugulo. Siyempre, yung huli nanggugulo yung si Basta, tingnan mo naman nangyari sa kanya. Na-checkmate lang din siya ni General Torre. You wanna troll me, I'm gonna, you know. It was interesting because it kind of gave you an idea na, and the president closed on this point which I felt also strengthened his argument, which is hindi ko na mababago yung nangyari sa past 3 years dahil hindi ko naman talaga kontrolado yung buong sitwasyon kasi ako nga yung inaaway. Dapat nga may-unity kami. Ako yung parating kinakarin, ako yung inaaway, ako yung tinitreten. I'm trying my best to keep things together. But nevertheless, gagawin kong lahat in my last 3 years in office to set the tone, right? In terms of doing the very basics for the Filipino people. Whether it's yung 20 peso kada kilo na bigas, whether ito yung nutritional needs ng mga kabataan, whether ito yung mga digital education, whether ito yung quality-based education, whether ito yung pagtulong sa mga kababayan natin na who cannot afford basic healthcare, ito yung tulong sa mga guro natin who are underpaid. So yeah, very Kiko Bang, I would say, you know, it's like, let's just focus on this issue, ganun. So yeah, kaya nga, I was half sarcastic saying, majority. Lahat na majority na. But it works eh. It works. And I think it could really work if, obviously, hindi pwede sa isang speech lang. There has to be follow-through. Kaya sobrang mahalaga in the coming months and weeks and years, i-explain ng administrasyon at ipakita ng administrasyon and make people feel and make people know itong mga developments na nangyari. Whether ito yung mga bagong mga infrastructure projects, I don't know, mga 3-in-1 weekend family, ayun, MRT ticket, discount, whether ito yung mga bagong bubukas na mga big infrastructure, big ticket projects, whether ito mga improvements pagdating sa KPI and productivity ng mga guro, whether ito yung pag-increase sa IQ ng mga kabataan dahil sa increase in terms of support of their nutritional needs and quality of education. So I think he opened up a horizon for himself to strengthen his position in the coming months. And basically, put the Dutertes on a defensive position, which is to say, tingnan nyo, kung wala kayo, hindi kayo nang Google, actually, pwede na kami mag-focus sa problema ng bayan, di ba? Kasi, hindi naman kailangan yung issue ng ICC and impeachment and all. Dahil lang sa mga Duterte yan eh. Kung wala silang ginawang kalokohan na mga EJK and mga gano'n, di sana wala ng ICC issue. Kung wala silang ginawang kalokohan na alam na natin, Miggy Mango, Piatos, ganun, di wala sana yung impeachment issue. Di ba? Everything has to, even the West Philippines issue, why did the president have to take such a strong stance on China for a very long time? It's because of dun sa sobrang, like, it's sobrang subservient policy ni Digong sa China, sa West Philippines, right? So basically, what you were getting from that speech is, actually, kung wala mga Duterte, medyo mapayapa tayo, di ba? And overall, I call it polite populism because let's be honest, ang dami niyang pangako, parang I was half joking, parang dating niyang gano'n, parang, di ba, parang just, ito, libre namin yan, ito, bayad namin yan, ito, okay na, parang some just like, fact check ko nga, double check ko nga, and I'm gonna fact check a lot of those claims, sir, but nevertheless, this was what you could call polite populism, right? A lot of promises are close to the heart of people, close to the guts of people, a lot of promises that will have a lot of appeal from a material, practical, needs point of view. I'm not sure about its fiscal sustainability over time or whether talagang kaya gawin lahat ng sinabi niya, but it feels good. It is good, and yes, we want the government to support us in education and healthcare and food and all of that. And it was polite. Hindi bastos. At in fairness kay President Marcos Jr., just as I said right before the interview, sana mag-Filipino na lang siya. And again, roughly I think it was 95 to 97% delivered in Filipino. Right? So I was actually looking at the ambassador, sino naglalagay ng, kasi kung hindi ka naglalagay, kasi wala kang pake sa speech, unless may translation sila or whatever. So the fact that he spoke mostly in Filipino, it actually reminded me of Pinoy when he gave, di ba si Pinoy yung first yata president natin, fully Filipino yung mention. Hindi naman full ito, pero more than 90-95%. He was really talking straight to the Filipino people, and especially yung mga kabayan natin na nahihirapan. And who are really, as much as they want us to have a perfect human rights and rule of law situation, the basic thing they need right now is, diba, healthcare, education, etc. And panghuli, and this is very important, guys, nag-real talk siya. I literally was saying, ayan, nag-real talk na, that's it. The president said, the flood control, may problema tayo dyan. Mukhang maraming kalokohan nangyari dyan. So, obviously, it raises the question, okay, so what's going to be the accountability? Inamin din ng presidente na pagdating sa mga, yung issue ng sabongero, gambling, something has to be done about that. So at least the president made a categorical recognition na may malaki tayong problema. Whether ito sa issue ng gambling, the whole sabongero issue, etc. And of course, etong issue ng flood control. And let's be SOP, the so-called SOP, right? Basically corruption, right? Tingnan mo yung reaction ng mga ibang that was good. He had to real talk it, but he has to walk the real talk, right? At yun yung next na titignan natin. So again, that 1 hour, 1 hour 15, whatever speech was not supposed to cover everything under the sun. Was not supposed to provide the blueprint, the point by point and entire detail of what's going to be done in the future. But at least it laid out the vision and gave us a sensibility of what could be the Philippines actually without Duterte's in the mix. And actually, it's not that bad, right? On that note, thank you very much, guys. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga followers natin, mga kaibigan natin na na-meet natin kanina, mga new friends natin, old friends natin, new old friends, old new friends. And thank you so much sa lahat ng mga nagmamahal, sumusuporta sa atin. 5 AM pa ako. I'm sorry if I'm not at my sharpest. Kung sakali hindi tayo ganun ka methodical in terms of our explanation, but this is really my honest feeling and my honest assessment of what happened there, and that's why I felt I'll give it a passing grade. Was that the best ever Sona? Is that the best ever he could do? Is that enough? Of course not. Yes, obviously it can always, and more importantly, sana may follow through, right? But I think given the circumstances, it was very strategic. By avoiding certain issues that could have dragged him into like essentially a hermeneutic circle of blah blah blah, and at the same time I think there was that punch and impact, and also Diga de Duterte's, and at the same time also laying out this vision that is very majority, right? Practical, straight to the point, lay out the foundation, and basically ang sinabi ni BBM is, let's cooperate, help me, my success is the success of the nation, and gusto natin tulungan yung ating mga kababayan. Especially yung mga tao na, well, hindi katulad ng karamihan nandun kanina sa hall, ay can't afford the very basic things. And I felt that's a very good and strong message by the President of the Philippines. On that note, maraming salamat, including dun sa mga beater natin, mga DDS na followers, for improving our engagement as ever. But more thankful tayo sa non-DDS followers natin at non-haters na talaga nagmamahal sa atin at sumusuporta sa atin. Hindi totoo yan na just because minimension ko at binubuli ko yung mga trolls na sila lang, guys, I'm trying to create a safe zone here. Right? Hindi natin hayaan na troll tayo sa sarili natin platforms. We will troll them back. At alam niyo naman guys, ako ay isang one-man I can be a one-man troll factory if I want. Walang laban itong mga sa atin. But kidding aside, thank you very much guys for your love and support. At yun po yung dahilan na kahit pagod na pagod tayo and all, diretso pagbalik natin. Hindi ko na nabutan yung mga TV interviews and all in the evening part. Although thankfully we did pre-zone analysis from early morning kanina pa lang. Si Benji Paras pala nung sa morning show kanina. Sabi ko kay Benji, Sir, akala ko kayo na huling champion ng UP. Sabi na, pero ngayon, 3 na. So anyway, on that note, thank you very much guys. Maraming salamat. See, I'm fair, right? I'm fair. Yeah, medyo may pagka-sarcasm ako, whether kila Kiko and Bang, whether kila BBM, but in fairness, there is also some validity to their point, and it works to a certain degree, and I think indeed we have to focus on certain issues. But having said that, you have to walk the real talk. And sana still on the issue of ICC, on the issue of impeachment, we'll see some good developments in the coming days. Let me tell you what, I saw congressmen, I saw staff of very progressive folks, hindi mga trapo ganun, and they seemed happy and they seemed encouraged. They didn't seem very parang, tapos na ang usapan kasi ganito yung ginawa ng SC. Hindi. It looks like tuloy ang laban, fuego, the fire will keep on kindling, and who knows, things could get even more interesting in the coming months. And who knows, baka ma-refile ulit yan next February, even stronger. And between now and next February, a lot could happen. And one of the things we have to watch out for is who will be the next ombudsman. So isa pa yan an issue na pag-usapan natin in the coming days with the experts and all. So as I always said, I may not have voted for this President X, Y, and Z, but I'll try to be fair, and if I see there's something that is worth giving credit to, I'll give credit where credit due. But at the same time, that doesn't mean masaya na tayo sa magandang speech lang or masaya lang tayo na ganito, ganyan. No. We're gonna monitor things, and as the President said, yes, monitor natin yung flood control projects. Dapat may mananagot doon sa mga kalokohan na nangyari, and dapat may matatanggalan ng budget kung talaga may problematic track record. And that's why I was also watching Senator Lacson. What was his